Okay, so it looks like we're going to get started. My name is Sue Sexton. I'm with ONEgeneration. Thank you everyone for attending our webinar today. Thank you to our sponsor, HealthNet, and also thank you to Dr. Cassidy from VITAS Healthcare, who's going to be doing this important presentation on coping with loss at the holidays. So please welcome Dr. Casady.
Thank you, Dr. Casady. I will, let's take a few moments if you'd like to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your background and start the webinar.
Perfect, yeah. My name is Dr. Casady. I am the Bereavement and Volunteer Manager with VITAS Healthcare. And everybody kind of has a why and why they do what they do. And my why is my mom died about 20 years ago. And I was sitting across the table from the social worker, and she didn't know that I was also a social worker. And she started pointing her finger at me, telling me, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing this. And I thought to myself, yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be doing that to me. And I thought, I'm a social worker. I can do this better than you. So that's how I got into hospice. Not very glamorous, but that's my why. And I make sure that when I'm communicating with the patients and the families, I'm 100% fully present with them and what their struggle is. And that's hard to do. It's very emotionally draining. I wonder if we could go around the wheel, as it were, and introduce ourselves and share where you're coming from, please. Maybe if I can call everybody's name, because I don't know if you guys can see everybody. Susan and Darlene, your screen is black, but okay, maybe Cassandra Jones.
Hi. Yeah, Dr. Casady. So me, Victoria, Darlene, and Susan are on a laptop at ONEgeneration, but the desktop won't let us, it doesn't have a camera. We just have audio.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cassandra, please.
Hi, I'm from West Coast University, so I got this link through ONEgeneration. So yeah, I'm doing my clinical hours there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. Nicole?
Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm a social worker with MPTF, Motion Picture Television Fund.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much. Welcome. Anastasia.
Hello, everyone. Anastasia. I'm also a West Coast University student. I came from Ukraine 5 years ago, and it's also my clinical hours. But it's also very interesting to listen to you guys about this topic. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Garcia?
Hi, everyone. First, thank you all for attending. Like Sue said, today's program has been sponsored by HealthNet, and Dr. Casady will be our host. Just to add on her accolades, I know she's very humble about it and she downplays her accreditations, but Dr. Casady has earned her doctorate degree from USC, and she's been a PhD for 2 years now and has been a licensed social worker for about 20 years. She's worked for VITAS about 6 years now, correct me if I'm wrong. She's been there for quite some time as our bereavement team manager, and she manages our chaplains and volunteers, as well as, just talking to families, hosting bereavement support groups for the community, etc. So I'm very glad to have a colleague like her. I'm the Director of Market Development at VITAS Healthcare, also a board member with ONEgeneration and a committee member in the Healthcare Committee and Fundraising Committee. So ONEgeneration is near and dear to my heart. I've been involved with the organization for a few years now and continue to participate in the best of my ability. So thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you so much, Garcia. Liz. Liz Altman.
Hi, sorry, I was on mute. Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Altman. I am at AIG Life and Retirement here in Los Angeles in Woodland Hills. And I also am a board member with Garcia and Gavin and Sue and crowd. And I have been associated with ONEgeneration for many years as a volunteer for a long time, and then as a board member for the last several years. And have served on a number of different subcommittees as well as the health committee with Garcia.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Destiny, please.
Hello, my name is Destiny. I'm a student at West Coast University, and I found this meeting through ONEgeneration. I'm at the Adult Daycare Center, and I'm completing my clinical hours there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Miss Marlene, will you introduce yourself and where you're coming from, please? We can't hear you, Mama.
Okay, my name is Marlene Lovett. I'm a retired school nurse, and I just came to the presentation because it's coping with loss at the holidays is a timely conversation. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Marlene. Welcome. Inha, am I saying that correctly?
Yes, correct. So I'm a West Coast student as well, and I got to know this meeting through ONEgeneration as well, and I'm having hours for clinicals at ONEgeneration.
Okay, welcome. Thank you so much. Gavin.
I'm chewing, sorry. Can you get back to me?
That's okay. Yes, of course. Thank you. Sarah.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a Master's of Social Work student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. So I'm far away from you guys, but I'm interning at hospice, so this was really cool.
Awesome. Dr. Casady.
Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. Yes.
I'll jump back in. Sorry, guys.
Please.
I figure you don't want to see me or hear me eating, so I turned off my camera and muted, but that's what I'm doing. So if I turn off my camera for the next 5 minutes, that's the why. I'm a board member for ONEgeneration. I have the privilege of serving with Garcia and Liz and Sue through ONEgeneration. It's great to see the students here. I remember when I was young, I didn't really think about loss in the holidays, and my dad actually died near Christmas 2 years ago, so this is very relevant for me. So thanks for being here, Dr. Casady.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Pamela, please.
Hi, I'm sitting here with my mother, Shirley Doherty, and we both lost my brother, her son, my brother, very suddenly.
In April.
In April, and it's left a huge void, and his birthday is December 18th. So this is the start, especially of a lot of firsts, and anything that can help, we greatly will listen to.
Well, I'm so sorry for your loss, Pamela and Shirley. Yeah. Well, I hope this presentation does help. Yes. Chase, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chase, and I am also an MSW student finishing my final year, and also work with clients here in Southern California as well. So just happy to be here and kind of learn from you, Dr. Casady, and definitely have experienced loss as well, as I'm sure many of us have, but looking forward to today.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm going to start the PowerPoint slide presentation, and then I'm going to turn my camera off because I tend to be very animated and I don't want it to distract. I don't even know if you guys can still see me after I share my screen. You'd think after 20 months of this, we would be a little bit more experts myself. Let's see, I'm going to start from the beginning. whatever. Okay, Sue, will you share with me if you can see my entire screen?
Yes, I could see it. There is that gray bar at the very top.
That bar, yeah. Yeah, let me see how to move that. Hide floating meeting controls. There we go. Look at that. Okay, now?
And now it's in the, oh, now it's gone. Now it's gone.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So this presentation is going to be talking about coping with losses during the holidays. We all have some type of loss. We're all suffering from some type of grief, whether it's the loss of a job, a home, a pet, or an actual person. Loss is loss, and it's very difficult. So during the course of holidays, we usually, oh, there's the CE provider information. And if you're interested, sorry, a little sidebar, if you're interested in having a copy of this presentation, please email Sue and she will forward it to you. She has it. Okay, the goal of this presentation is to provide training to hospice professionals on the dynamics, reactions, and strategies of loss and grief made specifically difficult during the holidays. The objectives are to review social expectations and traditions, identify psychosocial spiritual dynamic of holiday grief, describe grief reactions, and discuss grief coping strategies. So these are the holidays that people typically subscribe to: Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Easter, Mother, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, New Year's, the date of death, the anniversary date, birthdays, our birthday and the person's birthday. So these are very loaded days. And typically when the holiday is on its way to us, we start anticipating, right? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What's the food going to be like? Who do we invite? Where do we have it? So it starts the wheels turning of anxiety, because it's not going to be the same. Mom's gone, my husband died, whatever the scenario is, it's going to be a completely different experience for everybody. So typically during the holidays, we have societal expectations. Everybody's happy, you know, the Christmas lights are on, the, you know, kumbaya. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas music is on. I think it's 103.5. There's typically a gathering of friends and family, a special event. It may include religious celebrations like going to mass before the meal. So these are all part of the anticipatory anxiety that builds within us, because sometimes we want to do this. Sometimes there's power of tradition, and there's the annual rituals that bind us together as a family unit or as a community. And they're rooted in family and religion. So for example, if my family is, I came from a Catholic family, you go to church. I'm not sure why you go to church, but you go to church because you're supposed to go to church. Okay, so you go to church, and then after church, then you come back together and you have snacks and food and drinks and laughing. There's points of reference and meaning in the church, in the coming back to somebody's home. And that consistency of the tradition year after year after year after year, it becomes the norm. Okay, so I make the toffee. I make excellent toffee from scratch. It's delicious, you guys, delicious. That's what I have always brought to holiday gatherings, mainly because I like it. But now it becomes the norm, and an expectation is grown out of my contribution. And then it creates special memories as well. So if I make the toffee and my brother always brings the coffee, so we're the toffee and coffee side of the family. Those are special memories. I mean, it doesn't have to be this grand experience to create the memories. We all have a role within our families, our communities, or our groups of how we participate. And then when we show up for a gathering or some type of holiday event, we're different because we're grieving. We're different because I don't have my mom anymore and I'm sad. So the psychosocial and spiritual dynamics of holiday grief, it reminds us that somebody's gone. It's typically part of grief is getting through the day, surviving the afternoon hours, right? As time passes, we become distracted. Oh, well, I have to do something with the DMV, and oh, I got to change the phone out of my mom's name and into my name. Well, I've never done that before. My mom died when I was 27 and she was 49. So it left me really lost. And I remember thinking, because I would always go to holidays with my mom. So now it's kind of like I regress as emotionally. Am I supposed to drive myself? Yeah, you're supposed to drive yourself. So it's kind of alarming. It's I don't want to say it's disorienting, the order of things. And typically during the holidays we say, oh yeah, this is my mom's third Mother's Day that she hasn't been here. So we start keeping track. And then it reminds us what our life is like, and that it will forever be changed. She's never coming back, my mom, ever. And normal grief, holiday grief experiences that cause us to reminisce about the past holidays with our loved ones. Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe my aunt was so intoxicated. Remember when she threw up on the bathroom floor? Those are the stories, right? More dynamics as we realize new holiday memories might not include our loved ones. You know, those holiday pictures that we have, or the birthday pictures. My mom always made sure that she was right behind me during all those pictures, from when I was a little kid, from my birthdays to her birthdays, to Mother's Day, to Easter, to Christmas, to all of that. She was always behind me. So now I have 20 years worth of photos and she's not behind me. And that's hard. It's very emotionally draining. Another dynamic is the search for inner peace and desire to make sense of our own loss. We have to find balance from within ourselves, and that's difficult. Struggle to remain connected with our loved ones. It's very, very easy to isolate in grief. One of the powerful suggestions that I always have for folks that are grieving is, who's your support system? Who do you go to? Who do you call? Do you have a group to call into or to go to? All of those resources are really important at some point in grief, because what you'll realize is that you're not alone in your grief. Like, your grief is very private and you almost want to protect it. Once that stage of protection and advocacy evolves, there's value in seeing other people's experiences. And then, of course, thinking about lost hopes and dreams. You know, my mom never met my kids. She never met my husband. It brings me to tears. It's horrible. So some typical grief reactions, we're all aware of these. Lack of connection with others. We retreat naturally. Lack of energy. I'm exhausted. I slept 12 hours. I'm still exhausted. And grief will suck the bone marrow out of you. Increased irritability and tension. The smallest things will throw me over the edge. I remember yelling at somebody that worked at Carl's Jr. I asked for those crispy cut fries. Oh, those are so good. And I got regular French fries, and I'm so embarrassed to say, I almost threw the bag. I was through a drive-through. I almost threw the bag back at the person. And I said, I wanted the crispy cut fries. And I started crying. And the cashier, or the person behind the the window. They had no skills to deal with me. They didn't know, why is this lady crying over French fries? But it wasn't about the French fries, right? It was about my mom. But of course, they didn't know any of this. Sadness and loneliness. I've covered that several times. It's very normal to retreat within. Feelings of guilt. I mean, we can replay the story of, well, when my mom got sick, I moved to Florida. And then when she got sick again, I had just finished my master's degree from Florida State. And she asked me to come home. I was like, oh, Mom, I'm starting my career. I got my house. I got the dogs. What? Sold the house, packed the dogs, and came home and spent 2.5 years taking care of her. Should I have done that? Yeah. I mean, I feel like I should have. Could I have done it differently? Yeah, I probably could have done it differently. You know, those feelings of guilt and anger, all of those will last for a while. And regret. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Last time I talked to my mom, this is a true story. I said, well, I'll see you later. And then she died that night. Now, to somebody else, that comment, I'll see you later, that doesn't mean anything. But to me, it's like, well, wait a minute, you didn't wait for me. Appetite and sleep changes. Very normal in grief, very normal in stress. When we're stressed, we either eat more or we eat less. Or we eat more during the night and we eat less during the day. Sleep changes as well. You either sleep a lot more or you sleep a lot less. Or you have problems going to sleep or you have problems staying asleep. So sleep and appetite are direct indicators of how we're doing emotionally, I believe. Some more grief reactions. Tearfulness. Obviously, normal, very normal to be tearful all of the time. Anxiety and depression. Helplessness and hopelessness. I mean, whoever died, there's such a sense of powerlessness over their illness that we have as survivors. Well, we could have, you know, that shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're just totally cornering ourselves with that mentality. Absent-mindedness, absolutely. I remember driving, I had to drive to Marina Del Mar, and it doesn't matter where I live, but it's far. And I remember driving the whole way. And when I got there, I picked somebody up, and they got in the car and they said, oh, you listen to Korean music. I had no idea that I had been listening to Korean music for an hour drive. Just completely checked out. Social withdrawal as well. All of us have a social group, a community, whether it's family, whether it's friends of family, whether it's a group that we're a part of, even a book club. We stop participating with that. And that's normal. These are normal grief reactions. And of course, reoccurring thoughts of the deceased, of the person that died. Remembering when, coveting and framing those photos. I still have a list of, my mom would have, we were very, we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, so my mom would hand make Christmas gifts for the family members. And she had a list of everybody's name. And then when she made the tree, like she would make an ornament or something, she would check off the name. I have piles and piles of those lists. Why? Why do I have piles of, because it's her handwriting. That's why. So essentially grief, the important thing to know is that grief doesn't just go away because it's the holidays. Grieving the loss of a loved one typically changes the meaning or significance of the holiday, and also what activities and rituals the mourners may do during the holidays. I can't stand the holidays. I don't like them at all. I have 2 teenagers. So I do the holidays differently than was done when I was a teenager. Holidays don't mean the same because my mom's gone. So the next handful of slides are coping strategies. Recognize that the holidays will be difficult. Like going in, come November, all of the Halloween stuff is gone, and now all the turkey stuff comes out, all the Thanksgiving, all the fall, all the leaves, all this kind of decor, like the whole decor of all of the stores change. Well, that's an indicator for us as survivors and grievers. Okay, it's on its way. The holiday is going to be here. What is my go-to? And I'm going to talk about a go-to in a couple of slides. Knowing and recognizing and really acknowledging within us that this is going to be hard. It's still hard, y'all. It's been 20 years for me. Set realistic expectations. Let others know your limits. I don't think I'm going to be able to bring the toffee this year. Oh, it's so good. I know. Hopefully next year. And I don't think I'm going to be able to stay the whole time. Okay. Well, thanks so much for coming. Like, let people know. Surrounding yourself with people who love and accept you. That's a big one. It's very hard to avoid family. But setting up some type of boundaries is helpful, especially during the first, second, third holidays without your person. Avoid canceling the holidays despite temptation. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with this one. I would cancel. It's not the end of the world. Everybody will find somewhere else to go this year. I'm not the be-all, end-all holiday dinner. Allow feelings of joy, sadness, anger, and grief. You know, when the grief comes, it can come in like a wave. Like, you know, those weighted blankets that are filled with those beads. I call it like sand. Oh, I love those blankets because it's like a hug, right? It's like you're laying down and somebody's just like got you fully covered. I feel completely supported. Well, grief is like that. Grief will become like a wave of that weighted blanket. And I don't have the skills to continuously knock it off or get rid of the blanket. Very unexpectedly, grief will hit. Draw comfort from giving to others. One of the things I do is I crochet these little projects at work. Well, I don't do it at work, but I give them to my coworkers. And they like them. It's a nice way for me to give back, and it's not very expensive, and I enjoy crocheting. So it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. Taking care of ourselves. That's a constant battle, that we deserve to be taken care of. And the only person that's responsible for taking care of us is us. So it could be a matter of taking that bath, getting that yummy special creamer that only comes around during the holidays. You deserve that yummy creamer. It's okay. It's not going to be forever. Create a new ritual or tradition. Growing up, my holiday rituals were surrounded by alcoholism and drama at the meal, at the dining room table of my grandparents' house. Well, I don't have to do that anymore because everybody's dead. And the new tradition that I've created in my family is we go have a very nice, fancy, expensive lunch. We go home, watch a movie, take a nap, and then we have ice cream for dinner. That's the holiday ritual in my house. Of course, teenagers love it. My husband loves it. And I do too, because I don't have to cook, I don't have to prep, and I don't have to clean. And I'm good with that. No drama, no active alcoholism in my living room. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to celebrate the holiday. You know, it's not always that Hallmark movie. That's not real life. That's a movie. And plan ahead. Like I said when we started, be aware that this is likely going to be difficult, and it's supposed to be difficult. You're not weak because you're struggling. You're struggling because you lost somebody. You're supposed to be struggling. You just lost somebody. This is normal. It might not feel normal, but this is normal grief. I think this is the last slide on, oh no, we got one more. Hold a family meeting to discuss each person's wishes. Sometimes when the head of the family dies, everybody's completely discombobulated. I don't know who does what, who's bringing what, who picks up, who's going to sit at the head of the table, who starts the prayer. So if you have a family unit that is in communication about the holidays, having a family meeting would be a good idea to map it out. Who's going to do what? What's the new plan here? Because we have to have a new plan. Review all the holiday activities to decide what to keep and change. You don't have to do what's always been done. And you don't have to change what works. If it works for you, there you go. Don't break, what's the cliche? Don't fix it if it's not broken. Give yourself permission to change. It's okay to incorporate something that you want. We're not 12 anymore. We're adults. We get to choose how long I'm staying at my grandparents' house. Do I stay until everybody's passed out? No. I leave after dessert. Once I got a car, I was gone after dessert. Decide how to include the memory of your loved ones in the holiday activities. Sometimes I have pictures of my mom everywhere. And during my holiday, after our nap, after the movie, my kids and I and my husband, we tell stories. Telling stories is a wonderful, wonderful way to preserve the memory of somebody and to share, because my kids never met my mom, so they have no idea any of the stories about her. Say yes to what feels right and no to what doesn't. I like that. Do you want to drive 3 hours and have dinner with me? No, I don't. Can you make the toffee and bring it over to my neighbor? Yes, I can. Yes, I can, and I will. It's an honor and privilege to make the toffee and take it to your neighbor. Respond to invitations and expectations honestly, and always put yourself first. We have a tendency to be sacrificing. As social services within the field of helping others, I mean, we would sacrifice pretty much everything for anybody. And when we're grieving, that's not the time. We kind of have to build our artillery for our survival for a bit. We got to kind of stockpile emotionally, right, to prepare, because hard times are coming. And we can't be without our own resources because somebody wants me to drive 2.5 hours to go to a dinner. All right, put myself first, and the answer is no. Accept that feelings of grief are unpredictable, very unpredictable. They'll come and they'll go. One moment you'll be crying, the next minute you're laughing, talking about a show that you watch. That's grief. There's no way of making that roller coaster flatter. Find the true meaning of the holiday and celebrate it. This is something that's very individual that I believe is important for grievers and the bereaved to really honor and acknowledge. What does this holiday mean for me? And how am I going to celebrate it? Weave together past traditions and new traditions. Obviously, we're going to eat. Great. It doesn't mean that I have to do all this prep, slave over the oven and be upset and resentful, eat in an angry manner, and then I got to clean all that up? No. So we're going to eat out. We're going to go home, watch a movie, take a nap. Those are the new traditions in my family. And it's not going to work for everybody, right? What works for you might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for you. And that's okay. We're not cookie cutters. We're human beings. This is the last one with the coping strategies. Seek solace in those spiritual rituals and beliefs that give a sense of hope. A lot of people during the holidays, they rely on their faith. And they have meaning behind that. And that's important for them. That's wonderful. If that works for you, by all means. If it doesn't work for others, leave it. Consider how to include your loved ones in your life going forward. So this is meant to be more generalized, not necessarily for the holidays, but when we think about all the interaction that we had with the person that died, and then consider, what am I supposed to do now? A lot of times when there's a death, and it's somebody that's close, our lives are transformed in the matter of a day. So if I'm a caregiver to my dad, and then he died, what am I supposed to do? Where do I go? I used to go get him the chicken salad from Ralph's all the time. I don't know why he liked that chicken salad. It's nasty. I always used to go on Tuesday to get the chicken salad. Well, it's Tuesday, and I know I'm not going to eat it. But what am I supposed to do now? Like, there's a sense of feeling lost. And it's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to feel lost. And it won't last forever. Consider going to the Ralph's and getting something out of the deli that you like every Tuesday. Be patient with yourself. This is going to be a very hard road. And it's supposed to be hard. I remember when my mom died, nobody told me this is going to be hard, so prepare yourselves. Nobody told me that. And I remember thinking day after day, for Christ, this is horrible. And because I thought it was supposed to get better fast. I went back to work. We cleaned out her stuff. I got her favorite stuff. I'm not better. I don't feel better. It doesn't work like that. Grief isn't, it's not a timeline. There's no start and end. And give yourself the gift of grace. This is new. For every person that dies, an animal, the jobs that we lose, the homes that we lose, the big changes in life, those are first times for everything. I've had multiple jobs, and each job that I've lost, that I've left, there's an emotional experience that I have with each of those jobs, just like all the people in my life that have died. I'm connected to all of those people very differently because they were different people and they died at different points in my life. Some holiday commemorative activities. Announce that someone different will carve the turkey this year. That's usually a big deal. I'm not sure why it's a big deal, but it's usually a big deal. So if the person that died usually carved the turkey, we got to have somebody else. Create a memory box and fill it with photos, notes, and kids' drawings. That's really something special, especially when there's kids, little kids, because kids don't understand grief the way adults do. That comes with maturity and time. Make a decorative quilt using colors, symbols, or images of your loved ones. That's also very special. That's a project, though. That's something that needs to be very organized and coordinated. And obviously, you have to have somebody that sews. Light a candle in honor of your loved one. That's something very special. My mom had this vase back in the day when I was getting my bachelor's degree. I used to sell Party Light, the candles. And she bought this, you know, when your kids sell stuff, you have to buy it. So she bought one of the kind of hurricane glass things for a pillar. And every year she would use it on the dining room table for meals. for holidays, and I have it now. And I haven't used it. It's been 20 years, but I have it. If I do ever want to use it, I have it. So that's a nice gesture. And put a bouquet of flowers on the holiday table in memory. My mom's favorite flowers were daisies. I always thought to myself, oh my God, woman, daisies are so plain. There's thousands of like extraordinary flowers. She says, I like daisies. I said, okay. Some more activities. Visit the cemetery, decorate the memorial site with holiday decorations. That might be special for you. Have a moment of silence during the holiday toast to honor your loved ones. That's very special. And I think that they probably deserve that. Place a commemorative ornament on the Christmas tree. Oh, this is big. Every year, I have all of my childhood Christmas decorations. So when I pull out the Christmas decorations, I tell the kids, don't touch this one. You're not allowed to touch this one. And one year, my kids are 14 and 15, but one year, I think several years ago, they broke one, and it was my mom's. Oh my gosh, I freaked out. And now they don't touch those ornaments. Dedicate a Hanukkah candle to your loved one's memory. That's very special. Write a poem about your loved one and read it during the holiday ritual. Play your loved one's favorite music or play their favorite game. Plan a meal with your loved one's favorite foods. These are all meant to help us through the holidays, through the grief. It's not going to bring anybody back. Oh, sorry. I was going to talk about the go-to places, the go-to plan during the coping. I apologize. Creating a go-to plan. So when I start feeling overly emotional and I'm with people that I don't necessarily feel comfortable being vulnerable around, it's difficult for me to shut down the tears. It's difficult for me to not have that lump in my throat that develops when you're about to start crying. So the go-to plan for me is to go, I think Sue mentioned it when we first started, go to your happy place. My happy place is camp. When I was a kid, I used to go to YMCA camp, and they had, what's it called, where like the snack bar opens, where you buy candy, commissary, something like that. And I used to buy Reese's peanut butter cups. Oh my gosh. And it was hot. It was hotter than hell there at camp. So they were soft. Oh. And every time I feel that emotion come over me of grief, and I need to push it down because it's not really socially acceptable for me to be doing this. I think of being in camp and opening up that wrapper and smelling that peanut butter and chocolate and just thinking, oh, this is glorious. So the go-tos that I'm suggesting are not directly linked to the person that you lost. It's not directly linked to your grief. It's meant to be a placeholder, right? It's meant to interrupt that line of thinking that's taking you down that rabbit hole of grief. And it's not a way of denying. It's not a way of pushing it away, saying, I don't have time for this. It's a way of coping during those difficult times. So find your happy place. Really sink into it. This quote, it says, you will not always hurt like this. These words are true. If they do not reach your heart today, do not reject them. Keep them in your mind. One morning, not tomorrow perhaps, but the day after tomorrow, or the month after next month, one morning, the dawn will wake you with the inconceivable surprise. Your grief will have lost one small moment of its force. Be ready for the time when you can feel for yourself that these words are true. You will not always hurt like this.